car, do you say, hey, man, you probably should get out of the street, like, in love? Or do you be like, yo, get out of the street?
It's your girl, Angie Rose, and you're in the field with the Trackstarz.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Make sure you go to trackstarz.com for all the latest. We got an awesome writing team. We have one of them in the building with us, Wrestling One. So make sure you go there to see what they've been working on. It's headed up by awesome leaders, Ashley Korth and Jason Bordeaux and Kenneth Woods. And, like, it's just a great team. It's an awesome team. And also make sure you go to TrueStrengthApparel.com for all the latest gear. This is one of True Strength shirts right here. It's awesome. And make sure you go to audibletrial.com/Trackstarz for your free audiobook and get with the audiobook game. And also just go subscribe to us on iTunes. I really need you to do that. Go subscribe to us on iTunes. If you've already done it, make sure it's getting refreshed. Sometimes iTunes, if you don't listen for a while, it'll stop showing it to you. So make sure you go refresh it. And subscribe to us on YouTube. I know a lot of you have already. But when you subscribe, they added this feature where you have to actually hit the bell icon too, so you get notified. So I know a lot of you guys get this live, and we're doing this because we like you, but we still need you to go and download the podcast and watch the videos, because that's where nobody sees this. But when they see those views and when they see the podcast rising, that's where we can start making moves. That's where the higher ups that we talk to start saying, oh, okay, they actually like this. So you help us with that. All right. So we've been talking about this in a while. I don't like what's going on right now in CHH, just on a personal level. I don't think it's being handled very well. But what I have seen a lot from everybody involved is this idea that no matter what I say and how I say it, as long as I say I'm saying it in love, it's all good. What does in love mean? How do you say something in love? Because I feel like I'm seeing wildly different versions of in love. And I've seen some of the meanest people in the world say some stuff and then say, well, I'm saying it in love.
It's correction.
It can't all be in love,
love
right?
Love is correction. It's like even if you come to somebody and you say something, you just come straight from the hip. Even if it sounds horrible, there's somebody saying, they feel like I'm correcting you in love. That's what they
But the thing is, the in love part, shouldn't that mean I have love for you particularly? Not just
I'm saying it.
Not just I'm saying this because I'm right. Because I feel like a lot of people are saying, I'm saying this in right, not in love. I don't love you in particular, so I don't care how I come off to you. That's why I feel like a lot of Christians, they misinterpret the in love part. What does the in love part mean?
Maybe. I mean, I think people use that phrase because first of all, love does not always feel good. Let's say that.
That's real.
Love is not based on a feeling, and that's in any aspect that you want to use that word. It's not based on a feeling. So I think people sometimes feel like that reality or that fact gives them license to say something that may be mean, that may be rude, that may not feel good, because they are because they have their best interest at heart, or because they believe they have their best interest at heart. So I think that's why people say it and where it comes from. Is it always rooted in that? We don't know, and is it always received like that? We don't know.
Can you say something in love to somebody you don't know?
That's a great question.
Like the in love part seems like a colloquialism. Like, shouldn't you actually be in love with the person you're talking to, or can you just say, hey,
stop that,
stop doing that? Is that in love, or is that just I like being right?
That's valid. Yeah. That's very valid.
I think the difference is that is probably just like that is love, because you're seeing somebody go down a path that you feel like, I don't want that person to go down, so I'm trying to stop them and say, hey, stop what you're doing. You know what I mean?
But I think there should be an element where that person understands the love, and that doesn't come from you just saying, I'm saying this in love to some random person on the side of the street. Like, I feel like the reason Jesus could have conversations with people was his heart for them was felt. Like, he's the Son of God. Like, there was that connection, you know what I mean? Which I don't know if that's always felt with us. Like, talking to random people.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can pray that God gives you them that sense that you really are for them, but I don't feel like just off the top you can just walk to some random person on the side of the street and say something crazy and say in love.
I mean, yeah, it definitely depends on the situation or circumstance, but I will say a person, to your point, has to feel your heart behind your words, regardless of how harsh they may or may not be, in order to receive them.
Right.
If you want the person to receive them, that has to be there.
But some people don't believe it's your job to make it sound right.
I'm not saying make it sound right, but if you want them to receive the words, like there's a reason you're articulating them to the person instead of praying them to the heart changer. So if you're articulating the words to a person to hear them,
you're hoping that they actually
then they need to be able to receive them.
But wait, can you explain what you said? Because that didn't make sense to me.
What?
When you were saying like some people feel like it's not your job to.
Yeah, some people feel like
that.
me telling them that they need to cultivate a relationship or say it in a way that that person will receive, they see that as watering down the message. You're just supposed to say it how it is, regardless of how that person takes it.
I don't feel like that's very smart.
No, it's not smart. The Bible says that a brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. So there's a way that you say it. The Bible talks about how we're the salt of the earth. So there's a particular vibe that we're supposed to have immediately that's not going to be necessarily seen in what we say all the time, but in how we portray ourselves. You know, and we should be treating people with that love like everyone else said. And you don't even have to say, I'm saying this in love. You know, like when I used to do women's ministry, if I used to see a young girl with her bra hanging out or something like that, I'd be like, come on, baby, you know, you should wear one of them Bantu bras with that type of shirt, you know, so you won't see, you know, certain things. Mm-hmm. She knows that I love her the way that I'm coming at her instead of coming up at her saying, girl, you know, you look like a, you know, another type of word, you know, so there's a difference. And if I would have said something inappropriate and just said, hey, I'm saying this in love, she would have felt that, hey, that's not real love.
Right, that's counterfeit.
But I just feel like everybody's making up their own version of that. I mean, in the CHH beef thing, every diss song, the person said they were saying it in love, but it got progressively more and more unloving, right? So who is the judge of in love? Because it feels like everybody is their own judge of that. I could say whatever I want to say to you. I could say it however I want to say it. And I just have to say at some point in the conversation, I'm saying this in love, man.
But I mean,
what do you mean?
What if it just gives you off the hook, though? What if in love gets you off the hook?
It doesn't get you off the hook, though.
It does, because I think for some, the reason why people are saying that is because it's not me, it's the love I have for you is saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like if I'm saying something like, hey, babe, what you did, I'm doing this in love. It's like, don't put this in fence towards the way I'm feeling. I'm just telling you, and I'm doing this in love because I care about you.
Here's another example. I saw, you know, those videos that people make, the ICTs.
Yeah.
So there was one of them who did one about Lecrae, right? And it was like, oh, first of all, I want to make sure you know that I was a Lecrae fan. So this is not coming from a place of such and such. So I'm saying this in love. But Lecrae, you need to repent. You need to. I was like, whoa, what are you talking about in love? Like literally, I am not exaggerating. Go look this video. This dude is screaming
What
at
is
Lecrae.
this video?
I'll show it to you. But how could that possibly be what you're saying it is?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
There's some stuff that we just got to work on. I think is low key crazy.
You
Like
believe-
that's just some low key crazy.
Was that love?
That ain't even low key.
Or what?
That's high key.
Or what my man from God Over Money did. Dayton. Now you see the two difference. If you guys see the video, when you see the video with Dayton was like, "Bro, I'm coming in love with this, but we feel this certain type of way, bro. Every time you talk about us in the mainstream, we feel this way. That's not cool." That somebody could have felt, Lecrae could have felt offended, but he felt that was love more than the Shaolin situation.
I will say something about that. I do think it helps that Dayton is who he is. I think a random person saying that to him
would have been hating.
He would not have responded the same way.
Yeah.
I think he respects Dayton enough to take it that way.
Yeah.
Can I say that I think humility is the key behind having any of those kind of conversations. If it comes off as pride, like you can like strongly say something, but like, because I've had people say stuff in love and it's like kind of like harsh a little bit, but it's like, is there a realm of me knowing like, okay, but I could be wrong in this? Like sometimes I feel like we miss that, because even if I'm telling you, oh honey, you need to, you know, maybe not do this, or maybe that's not appropriate, like am I willing to tell you like I could have gotten it wrong? And I think there has to be an element of you even saying that. Like, I'm not saying I know everything.
Yeah.
I'm not, because that whole in love thing, like people say that could be used as a form of manipulation and of ignorance.
Yeah.
And like saying, oh, I'm going to tell you what I think is 100% right without recognizing my own flaws and fault.
Here's the other side. And this is what I heard Shy say in the Wado interview. We've forgotten how urgent what we're telling people is.
Yeah.
We've forgotten the
I don't see that
urgency. People are going to hell every day. So us,
Skirting around
pity patting
certain
with things is like, no, the building is on fire. I can't be nice to you right now. Let's get outside first. Like that was basically what he said. So,
but if
is
you're
there some truth
scarier
to
than
that?
the fire, how the person going to get out of the fire?
Some people may say, at that point, okay, here's another example. Somebody's walking in the street and a car is coming, out of control car. Do you say, hey man, you probably should get out of the street, like in love? Or do you be like, yo, get out of the street? And do you worry about his feelings
Yeah, but then the
afterwards?
response of that person could be they're so shocked because you're screaming at them that they stand still.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they could move.
Exactly.
So it's just understanding that you yelling at them like they're crazy, you know what I mean? You're trying to like prevent them from getting hit by this car, but different people have different responses. You know what I mean? So recognizing that.
Yeah, it's just hard to gauge. For instance, my wife, sometimes when like traffic situations occur, she'll be like, oh, and her doing that actually makes it worse. You know, because I'm like, and then now I don't see what's happening. However, yesterday she did it and I needed her to do it because I really did not see what she was saying. So how do you know? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know when to scream and when to gently, hey, do you see that?
I think a case by case basis. I think different people know. As a Christian, you should have wisdom enough to go or ask the Holy Spirit to say, hey, how should I approach this person? Can you give me the words to say to this person? If it needs to be not harsh, but if it needs to be like stone and steady and they need to hear this, then, you know what I mean? Like, let me come that way to them. You know what I mean?
Again, I gotta ask, how many of you have been saved this way? How many of you have been corrected this way? Now there may be more yeses to the corrected.
Okay.
Has anybody fussed you into salvation? Some people have been. But has anybody in here been fussed into it? Like, you need to get your life. You need to do this. Has it worked? Have you? Like, how'd you get saved? Was somebody fussing at you?
No. I mean, it was a hard thing. And honestly, my mom loved and trusted the Lord enough to give me space. Like, before I went all in, like, there was a period of time when my mom was like, you can go to church. You don't have to go to church. Like, I mean, and I'm not recommending that for any and everybody, but for me, that's what I came out of. But when I got saved, like, I went from being saved to getting baptized to speaking in tongues to being the youngest person on the praise. I mean, like, literally, I went from one extreme to the other. But my mom gave me space for that.
But I wonder if some of the people who have this tact, maybe that is how they got saved. Maybe they're just reliving. They feel like that's what got their heart, so they're trying to give it to you that way.
Maybe.
Well, I think there's an element, because like the church I went to, one of the most, like, I can even remember it right now, riveting services I ever went to was about hell. And I was just shocked. And like, not even just about hell, but like the after, like heaven and hell and where we're going to be after. And it just was very tangible to me. And it kind of just opened my eyes to a whole nother level. Because like, I grew up in the church, but like, this was the first time that it just felt very real. So I think there's a goodness in understanding the weight and the importance of eternity. Like, I don't think that's something that isn't important. I just think there are times where that's like pertinent and like it's important to talk about, and there may be times where there's just more, I need to love you in the door. But I think you can't have one without the other. Like, you can't altogether forget that like we're gonna die. You know what I mean?
One thing I love about our show is that we can have disagreements, like really big ones, but there's never there's never a feeling of I can't talk to you anymore. Like I've never like me and Jeremiah have disagreed. Me and Ryan have disagreed. Us and Miracle clearly. We've had really strong disagreements in this room, but there's always a sense of, even if I think you're completely wrong about this, it doesn't affect how I feel about you.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not seeing that everywhere, and that bothers me. That I'm seeing such like dug in. How dare you type stances towards people who disagree with you. I just don't like that. I don't like that attitude. I can really stand up for my opinions and really represent them.
Yeah.
And I could really think you're wrong about it. But I am never going to make you... I hope... I mean, sometimes it's by accident, but I never want anybody to feel like I think there's something wrong or you're lesser.
Yeah.
Because then it assumes that I know everything.
Yeah.
Because I could be really wrong too.
Yeah.
As right as you think you are is as right as the other person thinks they are. So how could both of you be correct?
What if the person that like was raised is the strict or the person who just got saved from their mess and everything, and they're constantly yelling because they know about the fire that they were in. They know about it, and they just want.
They don't want anybody else to get there.
They don't want nobody to go near that.
But then I go back to it. How did you get out?
And maybe they got out that way.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that would explain. That would at least help me understand why you think that works for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because it did not. That does not work for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
on
think
any
it can
level.
sustain you though.
When I played basketball, if my coach yelled at me, you lost me. You lost me for the game.
But I honestly
Don't talk to me like that. You need to talk to me some other kind of way because that does not work. I need motivation, and some people need to be disciplined. Some people need motivation.
But it's not yelling at that person. It's confrontation. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, don't
It's
do
the
that to me.
It was a confrontation. Some people got saved. A lot of people in our genre of Christian hip hop got saved by somebody confronted them with the gospel and showed them their life, and they was like, "I need Jesus."
I've never seen it in real time. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Never seen it in real.
But-
I've never seen somebody get fussed. I mean, like in that tone.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody get fussed at, and then they go, "Wow, you're right. Yeah, let me give my." It's never happened that way in my life.
Fuss that I'm talking about. Confronting somebody could be like us coming together and confronting one person, and that person can be like, "Wow," you know what I mean?
We've had that, but we've had those moments
Yeah.
with different members of the team where we gather around
Yeah.
somebody and say, "Hey, man, that's not it. That's
Yeah.
not it. You messing up." But it's not in a tone of. It's not the same tone that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It's not the same tone. It's a. Dude, we really think this.
Yeah.
We really think this. Listen to us. It's not in a tone of you are terrible and like I just don't get that tone. That's why I just don't understand it.
Can I say this one thing? So I was just thinking about like Israel and like how they continue to turn away from the Lord, and what kind of brought them back pretty much every time was them being made aware of their foolishness and like how stupid they were and how they messed up with God, right? But I think they kept going back to their idols. So I think there's an element of you have to be confronted. You have to be, this is wrong. Maybe hell and brimstone, but then relationship. Because otherwise it falls off. Like fear is not going to be what keeps you with God. You know what I mean? Like we have to fall in love with the Lord. And so I think it has to be both. And I don't necessarily think it's bad for people to be brought to the Lord that way, but I guarantee you it's not going to sustain you.
For some people, it has sustained them.
I don't know.
Here?
No, I'm talking about for some people that's been confrontational, they end up turning into that same person that got them out of whatever they were.
But what does their relationship with God look like?
For them, it could be vibrant. For them, it could be every day they praying, every day they're fasting, every day they in
But
the
does
Word.
does that mean just because you're going through the motions of something?
No, I'm not saying going through the motion. I'm saying for them, it could be that I was a mess. I was the worst sinner of worst sinners, and I got saved. And now I am going to be like telling everybody, I love this God, and I want everybody else to know that, and I want people to know it so that they can leave their sin. Sin is ugly. It will destroy you at the end. You need to leave it. And I think that's what some of these people come out of, because their life was the total opposite of life.
But where does the grace come in? because what I'm saying is, if you have a relationship with the Lord, like, yes, there is judgment, but there's also grace. So, like, yes, saying, like, you know, it's fine that you want to go save, and, like, that's amazing. I think we should all have that passion, that fire to, like, evangelize. That's what we're called to do. But there has to be an element of grace, because, like, you waking up every day is like, God didn't have to, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be that element infused in everything.
And the reason why is because you may believe that you don't need grace anymore.
Right.
The fear is that you think you've achieved a graceless existence, and you're trying to get everybody else to it when you still need it. So anyway, let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.